Pluto was discovered 91 years ago on February the 18th, 1930, at the Lowell Observatory, and was once believed to be the 9th planet. The surface temperature on Pluto is estimated at approximately minus 360 Fahrenheit, which is extremely cold, so it seems unlikely that any human colony can exist on Pluto. I guess being 4 billion miles away from the Sun doesn't help. Pluto has 5 moons, with the largest one being Charon, which is so big that Pluto and Charon orbit each other like a double planet, although Pluto is still around double its size. The difference between a dwarf planet and a planet is set by the International Astronomical Union, as they set definitions for planetary science. A dwarf planet is a celestial body that orbits the Sun, has enough mass to assume a nearly round shape, has not cleared the neighbourhood around its orbit, and is not a moon. It's lacking the technical criteria which the IAU set. Now, the definition of a planet must do 3 things. It must orbit a star, which in this case would be the Sun. It must be big enough to have enough gravity to force it into its spherical shape, and it must be big enough that its gravity cleared away any other objects of similar size near its orbit around the Sun, known as clearing the neighbourhood. Now, is Pluto a planet? Well, that depends on how you define the word planet, as the IAU has set different definitions of a planet and a dwarf planet. However, as Pluto was once a planet, then reclassified after establishing a new category as further discoveries were made, it was clear that Pluto was different, not just Pluto, but other KBOs as well. Kuiper Belt objects, later named Hume and Makemake, are also dwarf planets recognised by the IAU, located in the Kuiper Belt, which is a region outside the orbit of Neptune. However, there may be hundreds of dwarf planets in and outside the Kuiper Belt. Since Pluto is no longer considered a full-size planet since 2006, it's now known to be the biggest dwarf planet inside the Kuiper Belt region. With Pluto being 1,400 miles wide, this is half the size of the United States or 2/3 width of the Earth's moon. The International Astronomical Union downgraded the status of Pluto to that of a dwarf planet, as it did not meet the criteria the IAU uses to define a full-size planet. Pluto meets all the criteria except for one, known as clearing the neighbourhood. This means that the planet has to be the dominant gravitational body in its orbit around the Sun, so the planet has to cruise its orbit while consuming or slinging away objects in its orbital path. Pluto isn't big enough to clear its neighbourhood properly, and as Pluto does not meet this, then it's considered a dwarf planet, not a full-size planet like Earth or Jupiter. Although almost all the planets travel around the Sun in a nearly perfect circle, however, Pluto does not. It takes an oval-shaped path. Pluto's orbital path is quite tilted compared to other planets, which is why it's got an orbital period of 248 years. Which means on Pluto, one day is 153 hours, making that 6 days on Earth. Pluto as a planet has had a history of changes, 15 years ago since its reclassification as a dwarf planet. That's the end of this video, and we hope you enjoyed it.